Hello and welcome everybody to my Christmas holiday tarot reading party. So welcome, I'm so glad you're here. And I'm so excited to share in the sort of festivities with you. As you can see, I'm next to my lovely Christmas tree here. And I'm joined by my kitty Merlina, and you probably can't quite see her, but she's like right there. There's like a little patch of black there. She's just looking out the window. So I'm sure she'll make an appearance at some point during the live stream. So I just want to say, I want to take a moment. It looks like there's a bit of a delay because I actually don't see any. I see there's a few people here, but I don't see any comments. So if you want to leave me, oh, I see Lori. Hello, Lori. Hello, Mora. Teresa, welcome. Thank you, Teresa. I love my tree too. I wasn't even going to do a Christmas tree this year because I was just not feeling like getting one and decorating it. But then at the last minute, I was like, no, I really want a tree this year. Welcome, Krista, Misty, Rose. Hello, everyone. Angela. Oh, okay. So I'm excited to read for you today. I've chosen 2 tarot decks to read from. So for those of you who are new here, welcome. My name's Kate. I'm also known as the Daily Tarot Girl. And in this tarot reading party, I'm going to be doing 1-card tarot readings for anyone who wants me to pull a card for them. So if you want me to pull a card, you can just let me know in the comments. And if you have a specific question or a specific life area that you want me to focus on, just let me know. Or if you just want me to randomly pull a card, that is fine too. And of course, as always, if you have any questions about tarot reading or learning tarot or any kind of like tarot roadblocks or issues that you've been having in learning, feel free to ask those questions anytime. So the 2 decks that I've chosen to use today are the Light Seers Tarot. This is one of my favorites. Really fun deck to read with. And then the Elemental Wisdom Tarot, which also a really fun deck to read with. So I might just kind of switch partway through. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Good evening, Jackie. You're in Ireland. Hello, Lois. Okay. Hello, Claire from Vermont. Artsy Girl Marilyn sending me a virtual hug. Nice. Hello, Paul. Okay. I'm going to shuffle my cards. And just out of curiosity, do you have a deck that you think of as like a Christmassy deck or a holiday deck? Is there a particular deck that you like using during the holidays that you maybe don't use as much other times of the year? Let me know in the comments. So a tarot deck that I have that I love, and I was debating using it actually for this live, but I went with the Light Seers Tarot instead, is the Dark Mansion Tarot. And for some reason, that deck always reminds me of Christmas. I think because I got it on Christmas a few years ago. And so going through it, it kind of reminds me of Christmas. It's not a Christmassy deck or anything, but it just, I have that association. Okay, so the first card that I'm going to pull is, let's see. So many comments, so many questions. Okay, let's scroll up to the top here. Okay, so I'm going to pull a card for Mora D. All right, so Mora D, I'll just randomly pull a card for you because I don't think you, nope, you didn't ask a question. So I'll randomly pull a card for Mora. And actually, I'm going to put, oh, oops. Okay, no, wrong one. Oh, weird. Sorry, bear with me here. You'd think I'd never done a live stream before. All right, here's the one I want to show. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to draw a card for Mora. Okay, what card does Mora need to see the most right now? Okay, so the card we have, oh, Ace of Cups. Oh, this is such a beautiful card to start out with. And that reminds me, I was going to draw a general card for everyone, so I'll do that next. So Ace of Cups for you, Mora. And I love all the aces in the tarot, but the Ace of Cups particularly, just this card kind of gives me the warm fuzzies. Whenever an ace shows up in a reading, and whenever an ace shows up in a reading, it can really be encouraging you to kind of start something new. It signifies the potential for a new beginning, the potential to let go of the past and start something new. And I associate the Ace of Cups with issues of the heart. So this is associated with relationships, even friendships, feelings, emotions. And it's really encouraging you to kind of turn over a new leaf, start a new phase when it comes to matters of the heart. And as I look at this card, I'm really drawn to just the radiance of it. And it feels like the heart in the middle is just like bursting and glowing, and there's all this light radiating from it. And then there's some water spilling over the cup. So I'm getting this feeling of being centered in the heart, and then this experience of flow. And so as you kind of move into the new year, the message of the Eight of Cups is that in order to get unstuck in any area of your life or get unblocked is to actually move into the energy of the heart, which sounds kind of woo-woo, a little bit kind of a roundabout way of doing things, but getting into your heart and healing any kind of like relationship wounds, any kind of emotional wounds is kind of the secret this year to helping you feel like really radiant and alive and energized and optimistic. And it will really kind of establish more of a sense of flow. So if you find yourself stuck this year, if you find yourself just feeling like things aren't progressing, or you feel like things are kind of a struggle, really focusing on getting into your heart is kind of the key. All right, so now I'm gonna actually do what I originally intended to do, but forgot to do. I'm gonna shuffle my cards and I'm gonna draw a general card for all of us. So as this year is sort of coming to an end, before we begin the next year, I just wanna draw a card as a general message for all of us, as to what we should be thinking about or focusing on over the next week or so. What message do the cards have for us? Okay. Oh, the Lovers. All right. So this is a good one. This is a fun card. Okay, so we have the Lovers as the general message. And as I look at this card, there is this sense of passion and chemistry with this card. But I feel like it's more than that. This is about having a deep love and respect for someone, for yourself, for something. And I feel like the message overall here is connection. This is all about connection. And the keyword is connection. And I feel like the message here is about focusing on nurturing and fostering connections as we ride out the end of this year. So there's different ways that could show up. That could be fostering a deeper connection with yourself, connecting with your higher self, connecting with your spiritual side. It could be about connecting with others that are close to you. It's all about the quality, not quantity. And there is also this message of not trying too hard, like sort of making something a priority, making connection a priority, but not striving for that, like setting that intention, moving towards that, but not necessarily striving to be more connected, if that kind of makes sense, kind of letting it flow naturally. So really prioritizing connection over these next few days. That's kind of the message. Okay, I'm just going to stop and read a few comments here. Oh, and I can tell already that I'm like not really on my tarot game right now. I'm just going to warn you. Sometimes when I sit down to do these lives, my brain is like, poo, 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 poo. And I find it really easy. And I can tell just because I've had 3 sleepless nights in a row. And I had the worst stomachache last night, and it's starting to catch up with me, and I can tell that I'm just kind of like a little bit slow to process things. So I'm going to put that out there that some of these readings might be a little bit, you know, not super sharp. Okay. Meredith, you asked, and actually I will get rid of that comment. Meredith. Okay. So Meredith, you said, how can I best support my family at this point? Okay. Okay, so the card I got for you is Ace of Pentacles. So another ace, which is exciting. And as soon as I look at the ace, I get this message, this idea of planting seeds. So if you see, there's this guy, he's holding, his hands are like this, he's holding a seed. There's like little roots growing. So this is about planting seeds. So the message I get here is that when it comes to supporting your family, it isn't so much about, trying to think of a way to explain this. Sometimes when we want to help someone, we might want to do things for them and take charge or tell them what to do or whatever. And the Ace of Pentacles is saying, never underestimate the power that you have to just like plant seeds with people. So sometimes, I'm going to give examples of what I mean by that. So sometimes just being present in another person's life, and when other people see you doing well, taking care of yourself, maybe being optimistic, that has an effect on them. That kind of plants seeds. And sometimes we can say things to people like encouragement that plants a seed in their head and helps them see what is possible. And sometimes that is more powerful than coming into someone's life and being like, okay, this is what you need to do, and like totally taking charge of a situation. So that's kind of the message I get with the ace. That was the initial message I got with this card. But the other thing I'm noticing is the hand position. So these hands, the hands look like they are sort of lovingly kind of holding a space. And I feel like holding a space is also a way that you can really support your family. It's not about you doing things necessarily, like it's not about you fixing anyone's problems. It's about really just being present and like holding a space. There's a real nurturing quality to this card. And it just makes me think of like gardening, and you need to plant the seeds, but then you need to nurture the garden in order for those roots to take shape, to take form, and a plant to grow. So I feel like there's this nurturing energy here with this card about nurturing, holding a space, and planting the seeds. Hope that makes sense. Thanks for your question, Meredith. Okay. Yeah, Brian, you said, I hope you're feeling better in time for Christmas. I hope so too. Yeah. Eating is a big part of Christmas for me, so I want to feel in good shape to eat a lot this Christmas. Krista, you said, thank you for offering us readings even as you are humaning. At first I was like, what does that mean? I get it. Thanks, Krista. Okay. All right, so Sandra, your question, you said, I'm single and wondering about my future love life. I would love it if you could pull a card for me. Thank you. Okay. All right, so I'm going to shuffle my deck. And whoever correctly guesses what I'm drinking out of this mug will get a reading next if they want one. So you can just comment on what you think I'm drinking. All right. So Sandra, future love life. Okay, let's draw a card about that. Two of Pentacles. All right. I'll just show you the card here. Okay, so Two of Pentacles. This is interesting. So Two of Pentacles is definitely a card of balance. It's also a card of being kind of in the flow and keeping all the balls in the air. Often this card will show someone who is juggling. Here she's just got two, it looks like two purses. But yeah, so Two of Pentacles can be about sort of like multitasking, keeping all the balls in the air. A question I have for you: do you find yourself sometimes feeling like you're too busy for a relationship? Is that a concern for you? You might really want a partner. You really want to, re-energize your love life. But there might be a part of you that is just really busy with a lot of other things. So I'm curious to hear if that's something that sometimes pops into your head. But the Two of Pentacles is saying focus on creating balance for yourself. That's one area to focus on. It's almost like as you create more balance, things start to flow better and things start to take shape, if that makes sense. So by creating some balance in your life, you sort of create the right kind of environment for a relationship to take root. So balance is key here. There is also this feeling, that's my cat in the background. I was really hoping she wouldn't do this in my live stream. Normally I do my live streams downstairs in a private room where I can shut the door. But as I was setting up for this, she was sound asleep. She was like out cold on her cat tower. I'm like, okay, perfect. And now, of course, as soon as I started talking and started doing things, she's agitated and she's in the kitchen. She wants me to open the cupboard for her because she loves to go up onto the very top shelf. And what she does is she gets in the top shelf and she starts ripping into bags of things and digging and chewing on things and wrecking stuff. she's pretty bad. So, okay. So I'm sorry, Sandra, that I started talking about my cat in the middle of your reading. I feel here like balance is key, and I'm just going to scroll down to see if you responded to my question. Yeah, you said that's true. A lot of multitasking. Okay, so yeah, so the other thing I get with this card is Two of Pentacles is also about like being in the flow. Like, those days you have where you have a lot to do, but there's those days where you have a lot to do. And it feels like you are working and not really getting anything done. And then you have those days where you feel like the day was easy, everything worked out and you got so much done, but it didn't feel like it. Those are the days where you're just like in kind of that sort of flow state where everything is like connecting and working out and unfolding and all of that. And everything seems to be sort of matching your energy. So nothing feels too exhausting or too hard. That's what I think of when I look at the Two of Pentacles, is getting into that kind of flow state, creating more balance. I feel like these are the things that are going to kind of set the scene to make a relationship more likely as you move into the new year. So thank you so much for your question, Sandra. All right. So, okay, so I'm gonna, okay, so there's some guesses here. Okay, so Paul Remington says tea. Okay, so yes, it is tea, but I want to know specifically what kind of tea. So chocolate milk or milk with honey. Good guess, Emma. I wish I was drinking chocolate milk or milk with honey, but I'm not. You're drinking something to help your tummy in preparation for Christmas. That is true, Krista. I was looking for something more specific, like a specific drink. Licorice tea. Oh, I love licorice tea. I don't have any right now, though, so no, that's not it. Chamomile tea. Oh, that's a really good guess. Claire says ginger tea. That's another good guess. Brian, you said peppermint tea. Ding, ding, ding. That's correct. I am drinking peppermint tea right now. Danny guessed apple cider, hot cocoa. Let's see if anyone else said peppermint tea. Lori said peppermint tea too. Okay, so Lori and Brian, I'm going to give you guys readings if you want them. So just respond, I'd like a reading in the comments if you want one, because I don't want to force a reading on you if you don't want one. Lots of people guessed hot chocolate. I wish. I find the hot chocolate that I used to get is like gone up in price. It's like doubled in price overnight, and I just can't justify buying it. So I've been making my own hot chocolate with just cocoa powder, sugar, and milk. And it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty similar to the store-bought expensive stuff. All right, so I'm gonna do a reading. Okay, I'll do a reading for Lori first, and I think Brian wants one. I think. Yes. Okay. Yes, you must be psychic, Brian. You're a T psychic. Okay, so I'm gonna draw a card for Lori. And Lori, I don't think you had a question. I think you just wanted a card. So I'm gonna shuffle my deck, and I'm actually going to switch to a new deck. I'll probably switch back to the light seers, but I just want to keep it interesting, and I'm going to switch on over to the Elemental Wisdom Tarot. I love the texture of these cards. They feel, the cardstock is like very like buttery. It's a buttery matte cardstock. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to draw a card for Lori. Okay, what card does Lori need to see the most right now out of all the cards? Ooh, strength. Okay. All right. So you got strength. So strength is a major arcana card, and it's encouraging you to be gentle with yourself. It's saying that true power and true strength actually comes from a place of compassion and gentleness. And at the beginning of this live stream, the first card that I drew was the Ace of Cups. And I talked about kind of being in your heart. And I feel like there's a connection between that card and strength. I feel like strength is also about being in your heart and being compassionate and all of that. So as I look at this card, my attention immediately is drawn to the lion. I think just because it's kind of front and center. My attention is drawn to the lion, and I feel like the lion represents the part of you that you sometimes maybe try to tame. This might be the part of you that you sometimes get frustrated with. This might be a more kind of wild part of yourself. And by wild, I don't mean like swinging from the chandeliers wild. I mean like more of a like instinctual side, your kind of your almost animalistic, the part of you that sometimes reacts to things viscerally, like the part of you that has reactions and has a lot of fears and anxieties about things. And it feels like this part of you sometimes frustrates you and you think, oh, if only I wasn't so anxious about this, or if only I wasn't so afraid about this, you know, things would be so much better. And the key here, the message I get with this card is you actually want to be very gentle with this part of yourself, really treat this side of yourself with some compassion and some ease and some understanding. It's like there's a part of you that wants to be understood. And as long as you ignore that part of you or don't understand it, it's always going to keep poking you and and bugging you. So it's like there's this part of you, and again, I feel like it's a part of you that might be like your anxious side or your stressed out side, or the part of you that you sometimes feel kind of self-sabotaging, like self-sabotages yourself. And it feels like this part of you is just really wanting some compassion, some gentleness, and some understanding right now. All right, so thank you, Lori, for letting me read for you. So next I'm going to draw a card for Brian. And Brian, you said you're planning a trip to Southeast Asia in the new year. Any input on that would be great. Okay. Okay, so drawing a card for Brian. Ooh, Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune, this is a major arcana card, and the Wheel of Fortune is such an interesting card to me. And I feel like the first thing that popped into my head as I turned it over was that staying centered is going to be important for you on this trip. I feel like this is good, just general advice for anyone who's going traveling too. So as I look at this wheel, I'm noticing there's the outside of the wheel and then there's the center. Now think of yourself on a Ferris wheel that's going around and around. You're really going to feel the ups and the downs of that round and round movement because you're sitting on the outside edges of that wheel. But if you were to sit yourself in the center of that wheel, you wouldn't really be feeling much motion, but you'd be able to observe. And so it's kind of a metaphor for being centered within yourself. When you're centered and grounded, it doesn't matter as much if things are kind of chaotic, if plans change. And I don't know about you, but anytime I've traveled anywhere, something always happens that kind of throws a wrench into the plans. Like a flight is delayed, you miss a train, you get lost. So there's always something, whether it's major or minor, that happens. And so I feel like when you're traveling, the more grounded you are, the more centered you are, the better. And the more flexible you are, the more able you are to go with the flow, the better. But as I look at the wheel, I'm seeing something that's standing out to me is these orbs. So there's 4 orbs. There's like just in the bottom here. And then there's also a snake. So the snake to me represents regeneration. There's something about this trip that is going to allow you to kind of shed an old skin and be born anew. There's some regenerative possibilities with this trip, which is interesting. And then the orbs to me signify particular experiences that you may have on this trip that will be, I don't want to sound dramatic and say life-changing, because I don't feel like they're necessarily going to be like huge events, but little experiences that you have that just kind of shift your idea of things and help you kind of open up more, if that makes sense. So thank you, Brian, and I hope you have an amazing trip. I've never been to, actually, I haven't been to any Asian countries yet. I'm kind of at a time in my life where I'm like not really doing much travel and just sort of, I feel like I'm just sort of paying bills and not traveling. Okay, so I'm gonna draw a card for, actually, let me just catch up on the comments and just see if there's any questions or anything. I love how Emma, when I asked, what do you think I'm drinking? Emma's like, I don't think it's wine. Yeah, it's definitely not wine. It's too early for that for me. Okay. Okay, so Jackie, I'm gonna pull a card for you. So Jackie, you said, positive news coming my way. I've been struggling a lot these past months. Okay. So first of all, I'm sorry, Jackie, that you've been struggling. Hopefully, let's draw a card and hopefully this card is helpful. Okay, what card does Jackie need to see right now? Ooh, Page of Coins. Okay. This is interesting because Page of Coins I think of this as actually being a positive card, but the guy on this card looks a little bit, the youth on this card looks kind of sad, like he's just like, he's kind of a little bit melancholy in this moment. So let's talk about the Page of Coins or the Page of Pentacles. The suit of pentacles has to do with the physical aspect of life. So things like money, your home, health, like the physical stuff, the material, it's the material world. And the page is the youngest of the core cards, and he's a student. He's learning how to operate within this material world. And so he's learning to operate within this material world. So I don't know, and not asking you to share or anything like that, but sometimes when a card like this comes up, if you've been struggling, perhaps you've been struggling with, just the constant burden of trying to exist in the material world, and things like money, connection to your body, health, energy, all of that stuff. And I also feel like the suit of pentacles to me is about organization and the need to get your ducks in a row. So maybe that's also been something you've been struggling with. But the thing to remember about this page is that he's learning about how to get good with money, how to, improve his finances. He's learning about how to take care of himself, how to take care of his body. And the message I get here is that learning how to really ground your energy and build a stable base and take care of the basics is actually going to go a long way for you. So when I say that, what I mean is like really focusing on taking care of yourself on a physical level. So making sure you get enough exercise and the right kind of exercise for your body, and making sure that you're eating nourishing foods and the right amount and the right type of foods, and getting enough sleep. So those basics like food, exercise, sleep, those are kind of the three kind of basic needs to be healthy and have energy. And it feels like by focusing on those things first, it sets you up, it builds a foundation so that all other areas start to feel more manageable. So that's what I get with Page of Coins. So hopefully that is helpful. I know you wanted positive news, and I think that the Page of Coins in many ways is a positive card, and it's kind of saying you're kind of in a growth phase where you're learning, you're figuring things out, and sometimes that can be a struggle, sometimes that can be difficult, but this card is saying, keep going, you're learning, you're figuring things out. Okay. Meredith said it's never too early for wine. I feel like for me it is. Wine makes me kind of tired. So for me it is. But I know some people it's not. Okay. Oh, Shabita, you said, I love your card deep dive videos. Super helpful when trying to learn tarot. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I've jumped back into my deep dive series on YouTube. I took a little bit of a break. I didn't intend to take a break. It just kind of happened. But I actually filmed 2 videos back to back. So I'll have another video out in the next couple weeks or so. All right. Lollipop Trees says, how can I get myself to be more decisive about what type of jobs I want to pursue? How can I get myself to be more decisive? All right. Okay, Lollipop Princess, or Lollipop Trees. Okay, let's pull a card and see. The Hierophant. Oh, interesting. Oh, actually, you got 2 cards. I turned 2 cards over at the same time. The Hierophant and the Sun. Okay. These couldn't be more opposite. They're so different. The Hierophant, stuffy old man Pope. The Sun, happy, cheerful, joyful child and son. So really interesting to me that these have such different energies. So cool that we got 2 cards here. All right, so let's start with the Hierophant. So the Hierophant, I was trying to hold it up in a way you can see it. Okay, the Hierophant is telling you that structure and discipline are going to be helpful for you here. So you said, how can I be more decisive? Okay, first of all, The Hierophant to me represents institutions and systems. So having some sort of plan, some kind of system is going to help you figure things out. If you're just like, I can really relate to your question, by the way, because this was me, 15 years ago or whatever. And I had all these different interests and I just didn't know where to start. And I just felt very overwhelmed and scattered all the time. And I wasn't sure what kind of a career to pursue. So how can you be more decisive? I almost feel like taking a course or something. It's like you need some kind of system to help you sort of organize your thoughts and write things down, and even like just journaling about this too, kind of making a journal and just writing down all the possible jobs, all your interests, the things you're passionate about, the things that light you up, the things that you're good at, the skills that you have, kind of getting it all down on the paper. And maybe you've already done this already, but it feels like having some kind of system is going to help you. So that's one. I also feel like the Hierophant can represent getting some kind of mentoring or talking to someone who's older and wiser and more experienced with things. And an idea kind of popped into my head. If you have certain jobs or professions that you're interested in, but you've never done them, so you don't know a lot about them, reach out and see if you can connect with people who are already doing those jobs and interview them and get to know a little bit more about their jobs that way. Let's talk about the Sun. So the Sun is this playful, optimistic, fun card. And the message of the Sun, the message is always kind of like everything's going to work out, everything's going to be fine, everything's going to fall into place. But the Sun is also reminding you to pay attention to the things that bring you joy and the things that really light you up and allow you to feel kind of creative and playful. And these might be things that you enjoyed doing in childhood. Sometimes going back and thinking, okay, what did I enjoy doing most when I was a kid? Sometimes when you start to reminisce, it provides a few aha moments about what kinds of things to pursue and focus on career-wise now for you. So that's the other part of this equation. But I feel like there is this combination with these two cards of combining being like optimistic, playful, and the Sun is expansive. Just think about how the Sun acts. It radiates light and heat. It's this expansive energy. The Hierophant is more contractive. It's more about following rules and operating within a particular system. And so it's almost like a balance of these two things are needed. So staying optimistic, being playful, being joyful, but also you need to have some kind of a structure, some kind of a plan. So I don't know if any of that was helpful. Hopefully it gave you a couple of ideas. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do a reading for Paul. Okay, you have MS problems with walking and fatigue. I'm concerned this is a burden on my loved ones. Can you give me insight on this? Okay, so let's shuffle the cards and let's see what card wants to be seen here. Out of all the cards in the deck, which card does Paul need to see right now? Which card wants to come forward and speak? Okay. Oh, Ace of Cups. Okay, we've had like almost all the aces so far. We've had Ace of... Oh wait, we had Ace of Cups, but from the Lightseers tarot deck. And then we had Ace of Pentacles from that deck. And now we've got an Ace of Cups again. Okay, so let's talk about the Ace of Cups. This is actually a really lovely card to get here. The Ace of Cups is I don't want to repeat what I said earlier too much because I feel like the message with this card is a little bit different. But the Ace of Cups is all about being centered in your heart. It is a card of the heart. It's about allowing your emotions and your feelings to really flow. So whenever the Ace of Cups comes up, it can be an invitation to really fully feel your feelings and your emotions, not to ignore them, not to stuff them down. And so you're saying, you're concerned that you're a burden on your loved ones. And so I think allowing yourself to really feel those feelings and examine them as much as you can will help you kind of process them and get clear on what kinds of conversations you might need to have, what kinds of communications you need to have with your family. I also get the sense with the Ace of Cups that there is this potential for a new beginning with every ace. There's a potential for something new here. And the aces are always very optimistic. They're optimistic cards, and especially the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups just has such a nurturing, kind of loving energy. And I almost get the sense as I look at this card and I'm noticing the 3 fish. And so I don't know if you have 3 family members in particular who you're most closest to, who really help you out a lot. That number 3 is really figuring prominently. And it almost feels to me like the first kind of impression actually I got kind of when I turned over the card is I wonder if his family members actually feel like he's a burden, because you're worried about being a burden. But the sense I get from this card is that that might not be the experience of your family members that are helping you. They may not see you this way. So for them, maybe helping you out really gives them a sense of purpose, gives them a sense of meaning. I feel like seeing yourself as a burden might be more your own perceptions than anything. But the feeling I get with this card is that it is encouraging you to acknowledge your feelings, your concerns, and perhaps even communicate that to your family. I'm just going to scroll down and see if you... Yeah, I'm curious about the 3 fish. I feel like these 3 fish kind of represent 3 different family members. Just going to look and see if there's anything else I get with this card. Nothing else is jumping out at me, but it feels like a warm, fuzzy card in a lot of ways. I don't know if that's... Oh, you said 3 family members. Yes. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. I almost feel like in some ways, like as I look at this card, I see the cup and I see the 3 fish, and it's like they're going around the cup, and it's like that cup is like the central theme and things are kind of revolving around that cup. So in a lot of ways, maybe your care, a lot of their lives maybe revolve around you and their care, but you're perceiving it a certain way. They may not be perceiving it that way at all. So I think it's important to kind of have those conversations. Yeah. So I'll leave you with that. And I just want to say good luck, Paul, and thank you for your question. Thank you for letting me read for you. And oh, Meredith, you pointed out the fish are all out of the water. Yeah, they are. They are. They're fish out of water. They're leaping, but there's something joyful about these fish. Like they don't feel... Nothing about this card makes me feel uncomfortable. Like the fish feel joyful. Yeah, it's just a really cool card. Okay, you're welcome, Paul. I'm glad you liked the reading. Okay, so I'm gonna come back here and reshuffle my deck really good. All right, so I'm gonna draw a card for My cat's gone back to sleep, thank God. I thought she was going to ruin this whole live stream with her whining. She's sound asleep again. All right. Oh, Carla. My birthday is on Saturday. Well, happy birthday, Carla. I'd love a card for my next year. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, so your card for your next year, the big theme that may come up for you this next year is the sun. Beautiful. So this card is appearing yet again for us. So this is really the best card you could have possibly gotten for your year ahead. So the sun is radiant, it's joyful, this is a very optimistic card, but more than anything, it's a playful kind of card. And so some things to focus on as you move into this next year. And it's kind of cool that your birthday sort of is close to New Year's too, right? So some things to focus on as you move into this next year is focusing more on playfulness and really cultivating more playfulness. I was going to say cultivate joy, but I feel like when you cultivate playfulness and when you cultivate a sense of celebration, joy just automatically follows. I don't know about you, but whenever I try to be joyful or try to be happy, it doesn't really work. Instead, if I just focus on doing things that bring a sense of joy, then that tends to be more effective. So with the sun, it's really inviting you to take more of a playful kind of approach to life this year. So like trying some new things, maybe even engaging your creative side a little bit. Thinking, what kinds of activities, hobbies, what kinds of things really light me up and help me feel kind of playful. I'm drawn to the fact that there's four sunflowers on this card. And I don't know if these represent like 4 people in your life or 4 areas or 4 like projects or things that you'll be focusing on. But that number 4 is kind of standing out to me. And there's also something about the red ribbon. It's almost like red carpet, like rolling out the red carpet. It actually does feel like this year is going to be kind of a special year. There may be some highlights. And no year is ever perfect. So I don't think the entire year, every single day is going to be like the sun. But the overall theme of the year this is a theme of optimism, joyfulness, lightness, radiance. It's also about shining a light on things. If you think about the sun, so shining a light on things, being a light, radiating light. So just focusing on, what kinds of things help you do that. Really nice card to get, Carla. Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to pull a card for Heart Speak Tarot. I am planning on offering a workshop for women next year and looking for guidance on when to have the first one. Okay. Workshop for women, when to do the first one. All right, so let's pull a card. Okay, we have 4 of Cups. All right, this is interesting. So pay attention. The 4 of Cups is about, it's about a few things. It's about kind of feeling almost bored or dissatisfied by something. And the message I get for you is pay attention to your feelings. So When you think, let's say you're thinking about doing the workshop in January. When you think about running that workshop in January and thinking about it, how do you feel emotionally? Do you feel like the woman in this card, like you're like, no? Or do you actually feel energized and excited? So I think it's important to have a sense of like feeling energized, feeling excited about something before you do it. And it's funny because I've had a course that I've wanted to do for a while now. And I've been trying to create this course for over a year. And sometimes when I sit down to work on it, I feel like this mermaid where I'm just like, oh, I'm just not feeling inspired by this right now. And so I think noticing, how inspired you feel, how excited, how energized you are about this workshop is important to note. I'm just going to look. Also, the number 4 stands out. So it could be like in 4 months' time, because you're saying when to have the first one. I mean, think about that. Like when you think about running this workshop in 4 months' time, so that would be January, February, March, and April. What does that feel like for you? How does that feel in your body? Does that feel like a yes, or does that feel like, eh? What about 4 weeks? In 4 weeks' time, how does that feel? And just noticing. Yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Yeah, so you said, I feel like that is me right now. Yeah, exactly. It's like this mermaid, she's got all her cups out, and it's like those cups kind of represent your plans for this workshop, but she's kind of like hands off, like not yet. It doesn't feel like the right time. And timing is so tricky, right? Finding the right time to teach a class or to run something is always tricky, but think of the number 4. And also I mean, number 4 is really a number of stability. And it's like you kind of need to have all your ducks in a row and be organized before you run this workshop. And it feels like there may be some pieces to the puzzle that haven't come into place just yet. And I would advise against running the class before you feel ready, but also knowing that sometimes you might you don't have to, things don't have to be absolutely perfect either. So keeping that in mind as you move forward. All right, okay, I'm going to do a reading for Kat Turner. All right. Okay, so what card does Kat need to see right now? Knight of Swords. Woo. Okay. This Knight of Swords, he's very handsome, and he's riding a giant hawk. How cool is that? Okay, so Knight of Swords, this is about going full in on something. This is about really focusing and harnessing your energy towards something. So if there is a project or a goal or something that you have, the Knight of Swords is saying, get focused. There is no mountain you can't climb or whatever. There's nothing that you can't do if you totally put your attention and your focus on it. So this card is reminding you that the power of your focus, the power of tuning out distractions and just focusing on one thing at a time is really, really something to keep in mind. There's a lot of power in that. The Knight of Swords is encouraging you to do a few things. So number 1, the first thing is to get perspective. This knight is on a hawk and he's, up in the clouds, but he's up high. Just think about what happens when you ride on a giant hawk and you're flying through the air in a giant hawk over your neighborhood. You get a bird's eye view, right? You get the lay of the land. You get to see kind of a totally different perspective. You see everything at once. And it's saying that before you hone in and focus on one thing and put all your energy into something, make sure that you get some perspective, get a sense of the big picture and how things connect before going all in on something. The other piece of advice this card has is he's holding this huge sword. And to me, that is a symbol of clearing things out, cutting, forging a path, cutting away distractions. It's this energy of like clearing out everything that doesn't matter, that doesn't need to be there, anything that is like a distraction. That's another important thing to consider as you move forward. All right. Thank you for your question, Kat. Okay. Jess, you want some guidance about career direction. I'm struggling between starting my own nutrition wellness consulting business, which is your passion, versus going for something more stable in the corporate world. Okay, let's see what the tarot has to say. Okay. All right. Six of Swords. Oh, interesting. Okay. Six of Swords is a card of transition and movement. It's about going from one place to another place. So this definitely feels like an energy of change. So when you talk about career direction, you said you're struggling between starting your own business or doing something in the corporate world. This is about doing something a bit different. It's about creating a change in your life. So I think whatever direction feels like it would be the most change for you might be the one you want to kind of focus on. Again, take this with a grain of salt. But as I look at this card, this is a particularly gross, violent card. And as I'm looking at it, the Six of Swords I don't typically think of as being a gross, violent card. But if you look at this card, this is really interesting. At the bottom on her tail, which is like draping over the boat, there's blood splattered on it. And so it feels like she's moving forward. She's going towards the light in the distance, but she's had to kind of fight for it. She's had to, it's been a bit of a struggle. It's been a bit of a battle to get there. So the journey from point A to point B is a bit of a battle. It's not easy. And I almost get the sense, and I of course I'm biased here. Like when I first read your question, I was like, oh my God, do your own business. Like that's your passion. That sounds, more appealing. Of course, I'm a little bit biased. That's just how I am. But the Six of Swords, what's interesting about this card is normally in other decks, the Six of Swords will show other people in the boat. And so I will emphasize, as you're transitioning, as you're moving from point A to point B, you will be helped. People will help you. But here she's all by herself and she's got blood all on her tail. So it's like no one is helping her. She's doing this on her own and it hasn't been easy. And she's moving forward toward the light anyway. Make of that what you will. But to me, it feels like you're on a journey right now. And there's going to be parts of that journey that feel like a struggle. And you want to move towards the light, like the woman is doing here in this picture. She's moving towards the light. So what to you, if you think of the two options, starting your own business, doing, nutrition consulting, wellness consulting, which is your passion, between doing something more stable in the corporate world. Well, I understand the corporate world thing is going to feel more stable. But which option lights you up the most? And really taking that into consideration. And your path doesn't have to be linear. It doesn't have to be from point A to point B. Maybe you want to work in the corporate world part-time if that's possible while you set up your business. There's different ways it could look. It doesn't have to be either or. But Six of Swords is saying you're on a journey. And it's important while you're on that journey to know that sometimes it can be a bit of a struggle. Sometimes it can be a bit of a battle. Sometimes you get your mermaid tail bloodied in the process, but you're still moving towards the light. All right. Thank you for your question. Okay, I'm going to take, I want to take just a quick break from reading. And I just want to chat for a little bit with you. So I'll get back to pulling cards in a sec. But I want to know, what is your what is your favorite Christmas tradition? Do you have any like favorite things that you like to do every year around this time? And I'll share a little bit about my own Christmas tradition. So I always have my parents over for Christmas Eve dinner. And I don't cook turkey because I've been a vegetarian for let's see, since I was 10. Since I was 10 years old. I was at a Dairy Queen. I don't know if they have Dairy Queen restaurants in the US, but in Canada, it's like a fast food restaurant. I was at a Dairy Queen with my friend and her dad, and he was buying us burgers. And so I ordered a hamburger, and when I bit into it, there was this like massive piece of gristle. And that just put me off eating meat for the rest of my life. Like it was just, because I think up until that point, I didn't realize meat was actually like the bodies of animals. And then like suddenly I realized it and I got super creeped out. And so I haven't eaten meat since that incident. Back in, might have been the 80s. No, 1991. It would have been 91, 92, around there. So early 90s. But I do eat seafood, so I'm kind of a quasi vegetarian. So for Christmas dinner, I make salmon, and I make this special phyllo wrapped salmon with a cream sauce, and that's my kind of Christmas tradition that I always look forward to doing. Okay, Kyle, you said you don't have Dairy Queen in Australia, but we do have Wendy's, the ice cream place. Okay. Oh, because see, we have Wendy's. That's interesting. We have Wendy's in Canada, but it's not ice cream. It's just like fast food kind of stuff. Christmas tree decorations. Let's see. Only a couple people responded with their favorite Christmas traditions. All right. What's your favorite Christmas cocktail? If you like cocktails, do you have like a favorite Christmas drink that you like to make? Like spiked hot chocolate or something like that. Iris says we fry some vegetables and a sort of dough nuggets with anchovies inside. Ooh, that sounds really good. Lori, you have a baking day with your grown daughters. That sounds fun. Yeah, I didn't do any baking this Christmas. I don't think I did last year either. I'm not super into cookies, so yeah, Meredith, you like baking cookies. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna draw a card for, and again, if anyone has any questions about reading tarot, learning tarot, feel free to ask. I'm always more than happy to answer. And if you already asked me a question and I didn't answer it, like about tarot, feel free to repost because I'm not able to read every single comment. All right. Okay, I'm just gonna scroll up. I'm just reading some of the comments here that are funny. Okay. Here's a good one. What can I do as hidden hookah? What can I do as an individual to help others and the planet in 2024? All right. Ooh, the Fool. All right. Huh. Do you ever have the experience when you're reading tarot and you turn over a card and you have no idea how to read the card? I'm getting that right now. I'm like, the Fool. What am I going to say about this card? Okay. So whenever this happens to me, I just look at the card and I'm like, what is the first thing that I notice on that card? And to me, it's his trumpet. So he's got this long, skinny trumpet thing that he's blowing on. And it's almost like he's sending out a call, some sort of call, like he's trying to attract others. The Fool is also dancing, and he's got some, like, I think you call them maracas. So he's dancing. Okay, two things pop into my mind here. So your question was, what can I do as an individual to help others and the planet? The Fool is about having an optimistic attitude. So I think number one thing that you can do to help others and the planet is to focus on kind of fostering the attitude of the Fool, which is the Fool is optimistic. He's excited about life. He sees life as an adventure. No matter what is happening, he sees everything as like an opportunity for discovery and adventure and new experiences. And that can be a difficult way to be. It can be difficult to be like that sometimes in this world, right? Current events and things can bog you down, and you can start to quickly become pessimistic and not excited about life. And this card is saying, actually, one thing that will really help, especially others around you, is by really embodying this Fool-like energy, seeing life as an adventure and asking yourself, where do you feel called? And that's the trumpet. The trumpet is the call. Where are you drawn to? Is there a particular thing that you feel drawn to do? So when it comes to helping others and helping the planet, don't focus on what you think you should do or what others tell you should do to help the planet or to help others. It might not be an obvious thing. Follow where you feel called. Where do you feel pulled? What is interesting to you? Go in that direction. And I think the answer is there. I hope that makes sense. And thank you for your question. Okay, I'm going to draw a couple more cards and then I'm going to wrap things up. I was actually planning on going for an hour and a half, but my brain is not my brain isn't in tip-top shape today. So Iris, you also said on Christmas Eve you eat fish and not meat. Interesting. Okay. I know a lot of people are horrified when they find that I always have salmon for Christmas dinner and not turkey. Oh, okay. Laura, you said new favorite holiday cocktail is ginger bourbon. Oh, nice. Made with bourbon, ginger tea, and honey served warm. Someone else had a suggestion for a cocktail. Coquito, which is a Latin island rum drink. And Conchi, you said, in Spain, we eat lamb, fish, or seafood these days. And my favorite tradition is eating 12 grapes while we enter the new year. Huh. Okay. I'm going to do a reading for... Just scrolling up here. If you'd like a reading and I haven't pulled a card for you, let me know in the comments. Okay, I'm going to pull a card for... okay. Misty Joe. Okay, so Misty Joe, you said yes, please, and I think that meant yes, please, you want a reading. I think. Okay, so I'm going to draw a card for Misty Joe. So Misty Joe, the card you got is 5 of Coins. Now 5 of Coins is what I call a challenge card. It's a more challenging card. It shows a landscape. There's a lot of rain, and this person is sitting there kind of feeling kind of bummed out. Okay, so 2 things. Actually, the first thing that comes to mind is I'm thinking of the rain and like the cleansing ability of like the rain. Also like the cleansing ability of like having a good cry, just like crying, just letting things go. It's like a feeling of, I get like a feeling of release with this card. And there's nothing wrong with commiserating or feeling negative or maybe complaining about things or venting or getting something off your chest if it allows you to let something go. Because sometimes there's negative feelings that we just need to feel so that we can move forward. And if we try to stay optimistic and positive all the time, that actually can be detrimental in some ways. So this card is saying it's okay if you're in a bad mood, if you want to commiserate for a bit, it's okay, but use it as a way to kind of cleanse yourself and purge things and get rid of things and let go and move forward. What else do I want to say about this card? I'm noticing there's a little river, like a stream. It might not be easy to see on camera here, but there's a stream going through this card. But as it gets to the main body of water, it's blocked. It's got little rocks and things stopping it. So it does feel like something here is blocked and it needs to flow. And honestly, I think the key is not thinking positively and being optimistic and doing all of those things and having a positive mindset. It seems like the key is something needs to be acknowledged or grieved, something that hasn't been fully acknowledged, something of a more negative nature. Like there could be something that happened that you're still really upset about, but you haven't fully allowed yourself to feel upset about it. Or it could be something that's not working and you're maybe a little bit in denial about it, but admitting to yourself, okay, this isn't working, will actually allow you to move forward, and it will allow you to get that sense of flow back in, if that makes sense. Hopefully that that was helpful, Misty. Thanks for letting me read for you. All right. Oh, I like this question. Minerva Maniacal. Could I please have a general reading for how to be successful at a family gathering tomorrow? Yes. All right. Gotta love those family gatherings, right? Okay, so let's draw a card for you. Okay, so the card I got here is 8 of Wands. So 8 of Wands is a very fiery energetic card. All of these wands are flying in the same direction. This is really interesting. I don't know how to interpret this card. 8 of Wands is associated with communication. And once you communicate things clearly, that kind of sets things in motion. I feel like perhaps your family gatherings have a potential to be spicy and fiery. Who knows? There's a lot of fire in this card. I'd love to know in the comments if that's the case. There's a lot of fire in this card. This might be, your family gathering might get heated. It might be very energetic. But what strikes me is that all the wands are going in the same direction. This isn't like the 5 of Wands where everyone's kind of battling it out. Everything's going in the same direction. And again, I feel like 8 of Wands is about communication. Here's my suggestion. Here's what's kind of popped into my head. 8 of Wands is also sometimes associated with writing and like writing letters and like sending a letter or sending an email. I think if you have concerns, I'm just going to scroll down to see if you, okay. If you have concerns about this family gathering, I think write down in your journal, maybe what you're worried about, or even, and this is even better, writing down how you would like the family gathering to go. So how would you like to feel at this family gathering? How would you like to feel mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically? What's your best case scenario? How would you like things to be? If you have concerns or you're worried about this happening or someone talking about this or whatever, kind of writing it down as a way to kind of process it, get it out on the page. And I feel like that's going to kind of set you up for success at your family gathering. Okay, you said a lot of fiery energy in my family, and my father is a firefighter. That's so cool. Yeah, because there's lots of fire in this thing. I think also like Eight of Wands is actually a happy card. Like it's an energetic card. I feel like have fun with it. Like if your family is fiery and maybe they're argumentative at the dinner table, but I feel like that's because it energizes them. Like they like to do it. It's not like a toxic thing. It's like this is how they get their energy is by being fiery. So I think just enjoying it and diving into it for sure can be fun. So that's what I get from this card because I feel like there's fire in this card, but there's also flowers. There's these pink roses. So there is this I get the sense like your family has this fiery energy, but it's kind of all in good fun a lot of the time. And everyone genuinely does care about each other. Okay, I'm going to do one last reading and then I'm going to wrap things up. So I'm going to do a reading. Oh, and Minerva, you said, great advice. It's mostly a reunion. You haven't seen them in a long time. Oh, cool. Okay. All right, Iris. Can I have a reading on how to be successful in singing? I started to get lessons since this year. It's going rather well, but I feel like something is blocking me to unlock my full potential. All right, Iris, I'm gonna draw a card for you and see what the tarot has to say about your singing. Okay, so the card you got is the Three of Coins. And there's that trumpet again. There's that trumpet again. Okay. The Three of Coins is about really finding your work in the world. So I think singing is a big part of your purpose, and this is work that feels rewarding to you. The Three of Coins, I often associate this with finding either work or a hobby that allows the time to pass quickly. So that feeling when you're engaged in this activity, time just flies by and just really feel in the zone. You're just really in your element while you're doing this. So I think that's cool. So I feel like this card in some ways is just sort of confirming that you're on the right path with picking up singing. And Three of Coins is also a card of collaboration. Even though there's just one guy on this card, I often associate this with collaboration. So it sounds like you have a teacher, you're taking classes, etc. But the Three of Pentacles is about, it's really about working on your craft and taking pleasure in just simply doing the craft itself. The more you take pleasure in it, the more present you are, the more you have fun with it, the easier it is to improve. So that is kind of the key to success here is the more you enjoy something, the more likely you are to show up and do it. And the more you do it, the better you get at it and you build from there. So I think paying attention or looking out for things that sap your enjoyment of this, things that make it not fun, and trying to avoid those things as much as possible. That's my advice to you, or the tarot's advice to you. Okay, did I say that was going to be the last one? I can't remember. Hey, TJ. Oh, thank you. You have a Merry Christmas too. Um, And Arcana, I see you've posted a few times. You want your question answered, but I don't know what your question is. You just said my question, but I think it's like up at the top, and I'm just scrolling, but I can't see it. Okay, so I'm gonna do one last card. I'm gonna pull one last card for Julie. I don't know if Julie is still here. Hopefully she is. I'm gonna pull a card for Julie. Okay. All right, Julie, so the card you need to see today is Four of Swords. I actually love the Four of Swords. This one's particularly beautiful. Some people don't like this card, but this is one of my favorite cards. The Four of Swords is a card of rest. It's a card of allowing your mind to rest. Our minds are very good at being chittery, chattery in the background all the time. I sometimes have a really overactive mind, and sometimes it's underactive when I want it to be overactive. But the Four of Swords is about giving your mind a chance to rest, and giving your body a chance to rest, and really kind of tuning out the noise. I have this guided meditation that I always listen to every night before bed. And one of the things that the person on this guided meditation says is, let go of all the noise, all the voices, all the things. And I love that part of the meditation because if I'm into the meditation and already feeling relaxed, it's easy for me to just, let go of all the noise, let go of all the voices. And that's just what I think of when I look at this card. So the message of this card for you, Julie, is make sure that you carve out some time for rest, particularly just allowing your mind to rest. So whether that is meditating, taking a nap, working on a jigsaw puzzle, whatever allows your mind a little bit of a break. It feels like you need that rest. You need to re-energize yourself. And it feels to me like, and this is especially true if you've been busy, doing, or like if you're a very kind of productive person. The Four of Swords is saying sometimes there's more value in just doing nothing for a certain amount of time. Just putting things down, resting. So really want to prioritize rest with this card. So on that note, I'm going to wrap things up. So I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out with me. I'm actually going to be doing another live next week with my tarot buddy, Will, from the Atypical Tarot YouTube channel. So we're going to come on here together. We're going to be doing one card readings for people. It's always fun doing that with Will. We've done a few lives together. So we're going to be doing that next week. I haven't set the thingy for it yet. But that is going to be happening next week. And stay tuned because I'm going to be doing a thing on Zoom. It's going to be called Calling in 2024. Some of you might have come to it last year. I did one last year. So it's like a New Year's retreat. I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to be doing it. It will be in January. I'm just not sure yet if it's going to be the first week of January or the second week. But I'm going to do like a live workshop on sort of, setting goals and intentions for the year ahead and doing it with tarot cards. So how to kind of incorporate tarot into that. So I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. And thank you for allowing me to read for you. And of course, I'm sorry if I didn't have a chance to read for you. Hopefully you can come to my next live and I can read for you then. So thank you so much for being here and have a wonderful time over the holidays. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.